you said a few changes. Okay, so I have a few questions. One item is the risk you guys post on some of those flips or monitors. So I don't know how to read that risk. If you can help me understand how that works.
So what do you mean by that?
Sorry, what's that?
What exactly do you mean by that?
There's usually a risk like 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 9. Sorry, 2 out of 10. With the post, there's like a it talks about risk, right?
Yeah, yeah, I got
And
you.
and I don't know what is the like if it is the number's too low, is the risk high, or what does that mean to have a risk? Like, is the likelihood of selling this product is not to flip this product is not high? So that is the part I didn't understand.
Gotcha. So yeah, like the risk numbers, those are specifically typically on the flips that are provided by the lead group Scythe. So like the low key flip Scythe. The way that they provide the risk assessment is essentially based on the supply and demand of that individual item, and then also the cost of that item as well. So of course, their personal risk assessment is just based on the things that they can see at that very moment. So it's not something I would always take to heart all the time. But typically speaking, if they indicate something is a much higher risk, like say it's like 8 or 9 out of 10, that typically means that the demand for that item is just currently either unknown, or it's a very expensive item and you don't have really any opportunity to return it. So typically those items would be once you purchase them, you're stuck with them, right? So that's their risk assessment. On the stuff that I specifically provide, like the Amazon flips and stuff like that, you'll find that I don't typically provide any risk assessment. The only times I indicate anything is if I'll say that's no risk. If it's no risk, what that means is that basically they're usually like leads from like say Amazon directly, where you have like a 30 or 60-day return window. So you can buy something, list it, and then if you're unable to sell it in that time, you can just simply return it. So that would be a no risk item.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay. So that makes sense. All right. My next question is related to the flips, whether it's like quick flips or Amazon flips. What like is the expectation is to flip those on eBay? Is that the only platform you can flip those on, or what? How do the flips work?
Yeah, so it's all dependent on item to item. So obviously we have a lot of items that we provide assessments for eBay specifically, just because it's a much more open marketplace. So you can kind of sell more things like collectibles, special edition prints, things of that nature. And then we have the individual channels for like say Amazon flips. So under Amazon we have leads and flips. Those are specifically vetted to be sold on Amazon. But no, like you're not limited to any specific marketplace. We just typically post things for specific marketplaces where we feel like they would do best. So, like if under the example, the important channel, products and deals announcements, when I provide a link for the comps for eBay, that is because I'm looking at those items to be sold on eBay, just because that seems like where they are sold the best. So, like for example, an item that I posted earlier today was the signed Patrick Stewart book from Indigo. That would be an item that would most likely do a lot better on somewhere like eBay versus somewhere like Amazon, where a signed listing doesn't even exist for that item.
Okay. And then it's the way to validate, not validate, basically see how fast that flip sells on eBay. As an example, is that you do like the three months sold and closed or complete some is that because I'd like also to know how long it'll take me to flip an item. How do I figure that out from
Yeah,
like if I'm a flipping on eBay? I think I know how to on Amazon. I'm familiar with Keeper and the charts and all that stuff. But for other items outside of Amazon, I'm not really sure how do I go about flipping them and how long it takes to
definitely.
yeah.
If you would like, I can share my screen with you here, and then I can show you exactly how I would analyze a listing on eBay.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, if you don't mind. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, definitely.
Just give me a second here. I will go live. So I just went live in the voice chat, so you just have to join my stream, it's called now, in the voice chat. You should be able to click on my name and click view stream.
Yeah. I see.
You're able to see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, perfect. So then I will just pull eBay up here. Just give me a second. Okay. So are you able to see eBay on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So this is an item that I posted earlier today. So like this is the Funko Five Nights at Freddy's one, the Walmart exclusive, right? So this item, if I'm analyzing an item on eBay, basically I kind of want to look at the sell-through rate on eBay. So you can do that by when you first search an item, you can see how many items are currently sold. So these are items that are sold in the last 90 days by default. And so we can see that there's 13 items sold for this item under these keywords. Of course, we have some items that don't specifically meet our criteria, like this is a plush doll, whereas the one that we're looking at is this guy down here. And then I would also, what I would do is I would look at the non-sold items. So I would unfilter the sold items like this, take off the sold filter, and let it refresh. And then this shows...
Oh, sorry. You sharing eBay when or Discord?
Pardon me?
I see the Discord. I go on the eBay page.
You don't see my eBay screen?
No, I see like I was moving, but it's on top of the Discord.
Okay, just 1 second. I just probably have to choose a different thing here. Just 1 second. Discord doesn't... it's not connected to one individual monitor. It's connected per screen, so just give me a second here. There we go. Okay, let me know if you can see eBay now. Are you able to see my eBay screen now? Mohammed?
So yeah, I lost audio for a minute here, but are you sharing your screen now?
Yes, I am. Let me know if you let me know.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see eBay now. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, when you first search an item on eBay, you get something like this. So obviously you see all the results that are on eBay, right? And so you can kind of check the sell-through rate by looking at the total active results that are actively listed, and then check how many results are previously sold over the last 90 days. So if we search like this one that I shared earlier in the Discord for this Five Nights at Freddy's doll, this Walmart exclusive, we can see that on eBay right now, the only active listings are these plush dolls. The action figure itself is not currently active on eBay whatsoever. But we look at the sold items, so we just filter by sold down here. This will show us the actual sold items on eBay over the last 90 days. And we can see that there's currently 13 sold results on eBay. Of course, not all of them match our criteria because we have things like this plush doll up here. But this little action figure down here is what we were looking at. So
Right.
so yeah, you can kind of gauge the sell-through rate that way. So like if you have an item where there's no active listings, but you have like a bunch that have previously sold, that is typically a pretty good sell-through rate. So that means you would have less competition. The demand for the item is probably relatively high. And if you do that the reverse way, like say you have like 100 active listings and you only have like 1 or 2 items that have sold, then you can probably gauge that that item would probably take you many more months or years to sell. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Now the other question I have since in the screen, I see that different people pricing their product at different, like the $40, $30, $33, 47. There's nothing like algorithm in Amazon where get buy box. There's nothing like that. Basically, the buyer would just pick the the least expensive, or is there, like, does it matter what price you tag your product at?
Yeah, so with eBay, what I have found, like I've sold on eBay for quite a long period of time. With eBay, it's not nearly as important to be the absolute cheapest with most items as it is on Amazon. What matters the most on eBay is if you have a clear listing, clear photos. One thing that a lot of buyers like to see is that you have a free return policy. So if you have all these things and you look like you're an overall good eBay seller, you're more likely to sell an item versus somebody that has bad photos. Like
Oh,
this first listing that's up here, this is an item you can see. Obviously, this item sold. It's a plush, but to begin with, like
sideways.
the actual picture, it's sideways. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See
pe-
that? Yeah.
like eBay, like that is like kind of a bigger thing when it comes to eBay. I have sold many items at a much higher premium versus what the market has been, just because my listing overall was better.
Got it, got it. Yes, I did watch some YouTube videos and they emphasized on the quality of the listing. Oh, okay, okay, perfect. So I got that. Okay. No, that's awesome. Really. Okay, so my next question is related to price errors and price drops, and you guys are monitoring those. So how do we like I don't know. So a price error is somebody posted the product with a wrong, like a cheaper price, I guess, or and then you're supposed to capitalize on that one. I'm not understanding price error. If you
Yeah,
don't mind.
yeah, no problem. So what I'll do is I will change my share screen here, and we'll share the actual server here now. So just give me a second. I just have to stop my stream and restart it. Hey, Desi, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
All right. So yeah, if you can see my screen, you should be able to see the Discord channels now. And if you want, I can kind of do a walkthrough of what all the channels are for. Um,
That works. Yeah.
yeah. So obviously, like I mentioned to yourself the other day, I would obviously recommend starting under the Get Started section and looking through the entire server guide. We have a whole lot in here, and this kind of walks through what basically everything is, kind of just a brief explanation. Of course, not everything may be relevant to yourself. Like if you're not interested in shoes, obviously you can disregard that kind of stuff. Um, Secondarily, it is very important that you do give yourself any roles that are important to yourself, because whatever roles you give to yourself in this channel here will reflect on what channels you're able to see in the server. So if you do not, for example, have the Amazon channel, you will not see the corresponding Amazon channels, right? I believe you got that sorted, but I just like to reiterate that for everybody. And then when we come down into the important section, like what you were asking about for price errors and whatnot, obviously the first channel is our products and deals announcements. So whenever there's just good products that we see resale potential on, that's where I end up posting that stuff in there. Listing errors. Listing errors are specifically for items that usually on Amazon are items that something is wrong with the listing. And so if most channels, what you can do is you can look at the pinned messages, and there's typically some information about that channel if there's any relevant information regarding that. So you can click on the pinned messages, you can go up there, and you can see that for listing errors, this just indicates that we are finding discrepancies on the actual listings itself, and that typically means we can usually get the items for free, or sometimes we can take advantage of it and like for these Oreos down here, these were listed. They indicate on Amazon they're a 12 pack, but they're only charging $7.99. So it's clearly a listing error. So one of two things will happen if you order these. You can either order them and then get your money back because they only send you one package when it indicates it's 12. Or sometimes Amazon might just actually honor what's on the listing and actually send you 12 packages instead of one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Is that zero cost basically? If you
exactly.
want to relist them. Yeah.
Exactly. So like with these Oreos in particular right now, they're actually out of stock. But we have a restock monitor set that will send to the Amazon channel whenever they do come back in stock. And so I had ordered these myself, and I ordered 10 units total. So I was expecting 120 packs total, right? Because it indicates that they're 12 pack. So I knew that if they didn't send all 120 packs, I could just get refunded, and that's exactly what happened. So I ordered the 10 packs. They only sent me 10 packs. I just contacted Amazon support, and they said no problem, you can keep them, and they sent me a refund for all 10 packs.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then, like down here, this guy here is specifically for cereal. This one, you can open up a Google Doc here, and it shows you a list of different Kellogg's products. And there's just there's an error on the listing that indicates that the cereals are flaked cereals when they're actually solid cereals or like mini wheats. So that is relatively easy. You can order a box of cereal, and then you can contact Amazon and you can say, I was expecting a flaked cereal like it says on the listing. This cereal is not flaked, and then chances are one of two things will happen. They will just refund you your money, which happens most of the time, or they will ask you to send the product back for a refund. But considering that they're grocery items, typically what will usually happen is they just refund you.
So did you end up eating the Oreos?
No, I actually sold them.
Okay.
But yeah, I was buying them for that intention because I wanted to see if they would send us the 12 packs and I would get 120 units because like I spent $8 per 12 units. I could probably sell them for $5 a pack. That's a pretty decent profit. But yeah, I just ended up getting the 10 packs total and I sold them for $5 a pop.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of gems in this server. But yeah, this is useful. Very useful. Thanks. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mohammed, you were kind of cutting off there. I didn't catch that.
I said I know there's a lot of gems in this server that I was not aware of.
Yeah. So try to be as creative as possible and try and provide as much value to everybody as possible, right? And then when you
How much is this a month?
we have it priced at $49 if you want to do it per month, and then if you buy it in multiple months, like 3 or 6 months, you get a bit of a discount.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you come into the price errors channel, this is when we see listings that specifically they appear like they're price errors. So of course, some of these may just be legitimate sales, but typically what would happen is they are really good sales, or an item is actually like a price error item. So like last night or this morning, there was these children's play sets that were typically $500. They were on clearance for $50, so that's why they went in here. And there was a bunch of different items that were like $500 to $800, and they were all $50 at Walmart. So these are just typically either really good sales or actual price errors. So if we go back a little bit, let's see, there were these Bosch cabinets on Amazon. They were typically selling for $220, and Amazon had them priced for $75, and they weren't priced at that price for very long. So I'm pretty sure that these were price errors. And like I think it was like a month or two ago, Amazon had these LG 27-inch monitors. They were normally like $300, and they were priced for I think like $25 or $29. So Amazon made an error pricing them, and when that happens, then we try to take advantage of it, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's exactly what this channel is for. Again, if you look in the pin messages, this channel itself doesn't have a pin message, but these are just specifically for price errors. Giveaway channel is specifically when we do have giveaways going on. The server announcements channel, this is when I do any updates or any changes to the server. So whenever we add new restock channels, new features, all that will be announced in here. Like we can see yesterday, our Walmart restock monitor was just recently fixed, and last night we added a restock monitor for Scrub Daddy. And then we can get into some of the bots and whatnot then. The general stuff is all pretty general stuff. Of course, if you share things, like if you're copying items and you share that success, quite often if you share good deals, good items, I will reward you points for that. And our point system can earn you things like free membership, high tier roles, things of that nature, which you can find under the Getting Started channel under rewards. So basically, whenever you share leads or you share your success, then I will award points accordingly for that. So you can basically get free membership if you engage a lot with the server. And then in the Amazon category, of course, one of the main things that we have is leads and flips. So whenever I provide any leads for anybody in here, these would be items that I just specifically find that look like they are solid flips on Amazon. So like there was a Lego set that was posted last night that you can only find in store at Walmart right now for a really good deal. Normally it's $45, but a lot of Walmarts right now have it on sale for $9. And you can check your stock by clicking on the stock track link there, and then inputting your province, and you can see if your local WalMarts have it in stock. There were
How easy is it? Sorry, Jordan. How easy is it to get it on Amazon for Legos?
So I would say before it was a lot harder. Nowadays, you can use like the Amazon ungating method. I have a link for that in my blog on my website on serendipityoa.ca. You can go on there and go on the blog, and I can actually I'll send you the link directly. You can use Amazon itself to get ungated in almost anything.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I opened the ticket and they sent me to that link you just mentioned.
yeah,
Do you have to buy like expensive Legos to get ungated, or
no.
any small item on Legos is fine?
As long as it's a Lego branded item, it'll work. So you can buy like the minifigure packs or like a Lego keychain. So you will still have to buy 10 units, right? So you're probably going to spend probably like $50-$60 if you get like the small Lego minifigure packs. But I mean, that's relatively cheap. And then you can just resell those items and probably recoup most of your money.
Okay.
You just have to make sure that you're buying the items directly from Amazon and not from a third-party seller.
And I think your guide also says that I have to buy from a different account than the Prime account.
Right. So you can't use Prime shipping, or you shouldn't use Prime shipping when it comes to doing things with Amazon, really. So the best thing is that you use an account without Prime, because chances are if you have Prime shipping, you probably won't be able to buy anything without Prime shipping. They usually don't give you the option. But as long as it has your name attached to it, if you're not selling it specifically back on Amazon, it's not a huge deal, but I like to avoid using Prime when we're doing anything with Amazon, just because it's against their terms of service if they think that you're going to resell it back on Amazon.
Makes sense. Okay.
Do we have access to all of this stuff right now? Because I'm looking on the server, I don't see the Amazon tab.
Yeah, 100%. So if you want to see it, just make sure you go into the roles channel access
Oh, I see.
and click on the Amazon button, and then that section should open up for you there.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Definitely. And if you click it again, it'll remove the role from you, and then it'll remove those channel access from you. So if you can't see it, just make sure you go back in there into the roles access and re-click on that button.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of different leads that we provide in the leads and flips, obviously. So again, just to provide additional value for everybody in the server. The next thing that we have is the Seller Watch bot. So this is our own in-house bot. I think that this is highly underutilized by a lot of people. There is probably about a dozen people in the server or so right now that are actually utilizing it, but not everybody is. And basically, this is what I would call this like storefront stalking on steroids, because you can monitor any storefronts that you want, and then whenever they stock new products, you'll get notified in your own individual thread. So, like, I have 4 different threads for myself because I have 4 different Keepa accounts, just because I have a large team and we need a lot of Keepa access. And so if I go into one of the channels, I can see that whenever this seller here stocks new products, I get notified about it. It shows me the Keepa chart, shows me the information, and then I can click into the product and see it on Amazon. And so this is a great way of sourcing for me and my team. Assuming, and I believe a lot of other people can utilize it too, assuming that you're stocking good quality storefronts.
Now, how do you add the store to instead of Connect?
So if you come into the Seller Watch channel, again, you can click on the pin messages, and then in here, this gives you a whole breakdown of how to utilize the bot. Right. But to get started, you just come into the Seller Watch channel, and then you do the setup command like you see right here. So you just go that little up sign, setup, and then once you enter that into the chat, the bot will open up your own private thread for you. So then it'll open up a channel like this, and then you just follow the commands that are in the pinned the pin message. So you can come to the pin message here. I'll show you here. You come down to the commands. You can go to this guy here, and this shows you all the information and commands. So if you want to add a seller, you just click add. If you want to remove a seller, you use the remove command, so on and so forth.
And who gets that the updates from everybody or
just you? So it's in your own private thread. So I can see other people's private threads. I don't actively monitor them. I can only see them because I'm the server owner, of course. But nobody else can see your private thread. So like if I show you like the members here, I'll show you. So we can see here that in this individual thread, I have access to it. The bot has access to it, and then somebody named Yuri has access to it. Yuri has access to it because Yuri is my VA, so I have her look at here and look through the sellers.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if you do any type of Amazon sourcing, storefront stocking, I would highly recommend that you do utilize this. There's a whole video I made about it as well. The only thing that if you want to utilize this, you do need an active Keepa account, and you do need to connect it to your own Keepa account.
Yeah, I do have one. Okay, perfect. No, this is great.
Yeah. But yeah, like for Amazon, like storefront stocking, reverse sourcing, this is a super killer feature. I utilize this a lot, and I'm able to find a ton of good products like this with having to do very minimal effort.
This is basically the equivalent of Stealthwatch. I forgot what's that product name, right?
The equivalent of what? Sorry.
There's a product called Stealthwatch or Seller Stealthwatch. So let's just kind of watch these other sellers. Have you heard of that?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
Yeah, so if there's a product that does like actually stock storefronts for you, that's interesting because I've never heard of anything. But yeah, this if there is something that does that this would be basically the same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay.
And then when we come down into some of the Amazon deals channels, these are bots that we have that actively monitor Amazon. And then whenever it detects price drops, it displays them in the corresponding channels. So the main two channels that we have is Amazon Deals and then Amazon Mid Deals. So Amazon Deals is basically anything it detects about like 70+% off. Some a little bit more, some a little bit less. They're supposed to be considered higher quality or higher discount deals. And then Amazon Mid Deals would just be considered lower quality or lower discount deals. So they're typically below 70%, but you can still find a lot of good stuff in here. Again, this is a bot that's monitoring this stuff, so not everything's perfect. Some of the stuff, like, it doesn't look like it's a great deal, but when it does detect deals, it can detect some really good ones. That's exactly how we found those 27-inch monitors that Amazon had a price error on. This is exactly how we found them. It popped up in this channel here. So yeah, like this.
Do a lot of people in the group, like, do they get a lot of this stuff when the bot notifies, or does the stock usually go to one seller?
No, so like these, of course, you have to be actively monitoring it if you want to secure the deal, because it doesn't actively buy it for you. It just tells you when the items are on sale. So not everybody is sitting here all the time, 24/7 monitoring everything, and quite often, unless it's like a third-party seller that only has a few in stock, quite often there's lots of stock that's available. So
okay, so a lot of people can, as long as you see it on the. Sorry, I keep hearing my voice. It throws me off. When you see it in the channel, most people will have access to buying it. It doesn't just get dominated by one big buyer, I guess.
Correct, yes. Like in most cases, most of these are deals that are from Amazon directly, and typically Amazon has quite a lot of stock that's available.
Right.
Yeah. And these deals are all for brand new items. Like these are not warehouse deals. I am hoping on adding a bot for warehouse deals specifically in the very near future. For those deals, it may be harder to get because when there are warehouse deals, they're used or damaged packaging, and there's usually only a few that's available. But for these guys, these are all brand new items, and there's usually lots of stock available. So yeah, and then if we come into Amazon Canada coupons, this shows just specifically some coupons that are available for Amazon Canada. Again, this is a bot that's actively monitoring these, and it displays if coupons are available for specific items. I haven't found this channel to be super useful because I found that a lot of these items are just kind of like generic Chinese, for the lack of a better word, shit. So they're not really great. But if you're looking for like some generic Chinese products, sometimes you can find some good things in here. The Amazon Canada price drops channels, these were very similar to the Amazon deals channels, just from a different provider. We have discontinued these, so we haven't seen any new deals being put in here recently, because I didn't find that this one provided any different results compared to our other channels. I've just left these here for now, just in case there's anything that anybody wants to access, but these are channels that will be getting removed in the very near future. And then the Amazon deals channels for the US, deals and mid deals. This is the exact same as the Canadian deals channels, just specifically for the US market. So obviously this group is focused around Canadians, so I just have this here in case anybody wants to purchase anything in the US market, of course. And then, like we have in the rest of the server, we do have some monitors that monitor Reddit and Twitter for specific information. So if you want to keep up on certain seller news, we do have certain accounts that we follow, just all Amazon related, just in case you want to see some information specifically to Amazon. And again, if you look in the pin messages channel, it shows you what accounts we follow. And of course, if you ever want to add any accounts for us to follow on here, you can certainly let us know and we will add that on here for you. Okay. Hey BTC, how's it going? Okay, and then we get into the deals and price errors section. So again, this is just more so to discuss certain deals and then just to provide access to some additional deals as well. So the Facebook Amazon deals, this is a bot that is actively monitoring a couple of Facebook groups that just constantly display deals from Amazon specifically. So again, these are just more Amazon deals. Like I mentioned, our bot doesn't always catch everything, so sometimes you can find additional deals in here as well. The food deals, this is a bot that monitors a couple different food websites, and then we also manually post things in here when we find them as well. So if you want any specific deals on food, those all get posted in here. The freebies channel is another thing that just monitors a few different websites when there are free things that are monitored, and they're posted in here. The random deals channel, this follows a lot of different deal bots. A lot of these are more so specifically for the US. I'm going to revamp this section probably in the next couple weeks. We do have a couple things that we follow that are for Canada. So like Fat Kid Deals is specifically in the US right now. Snow Scoo is specifically in the US. Some of these deals we can obviously monetize in Canada as well if you are wanting to buy things in the US market or bring them across the border. And then we also monitor like accounts like this account here on Twitter. They display a lot of game deals in Canada. This one is specifically for Canada. So I'll probably be revamping this again like in the next couple of weeks just to make it more streamlined and more separated between the US and Canada. But right now we have a couple bundled in here. And again, if you look at the pin messages, you can see what accounts we monitor on here right now.
But where would you normally put games? Is that eBay or Amazon?
For video games?
Yeah.
It all depends on what it is. So, like, there are a ton of video games that can do very well on Amazon, especially, like, say, if we find, like, PS5, Xbox One games on sale, they can do quite well on Amazon. A lot of, like, the limited edition collector stuff, or if you're, of course, finding anything used, that usually does better on eBay.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And then the channels that we have here, let's say RFD, that is specifically for the website called Red Flag Deals. So we have our monitor bot that monitors red flag deals, their different categories, and displays all new posts in these channels. So we have red flag deals coupons, red flag deals deals. So that's posted by red flag deals directly. Their hot deals, that is post directly in their forums. So this is post by all of their members, and we can quite often find a lot of good stuff in here. Of course, they're not just resellers; they're just looking at deals, all kinds of deals directly. So not all these are specifically for reselling, but you can find a lot of good stuff in here for reselling or just for personal use. They have their own freebies channel because Red Flag Deals also post a lot of freebies. And then whenever they have any news, that gets displayed in here as well. And then we come down into the eBay section. So eBay, of course, we have specific chats for eBay, and then we have a specialty bot for eBay too. So when you post things on eBay, this bot allows you to send viewers and watchers to your eBay listing. Somebody has their mic kind of going off in the background. Do you want to just mute yourself there, Desi?
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Jordan,
Yep.
why would you monitor or watch your own listing on eBay? Or not understanding.
No, that's a good question. So you can send viewers and watchers to your listing just because that can kind of indicate that there's more demand for your listing. And so if you look on eBay, like say you're an eBay purchaser and you look at an item and an item, say one item has 10 watchers on it, where another item has no watchers on it, just subconsciously, the one that has more watchers on it kind of tells you that specific item, that specific listing has more demand, more interest. So you're probably more likely to look at and purchase that item.
Okay. That's really good. Okay.
Right. So yeah, when you send viewers and watchers, of course, if you look in the pin channel here, it shows you here again how to utilize the bot, how to utilize it effectively. It does indicate in here that I would not recommend sending more than 50 viewers or watchers per day. That's just specifically so that you don't have eBay catch you and think that you're trying to manipulate their system. Because of course, it's not done with eBay's blessing. They don't like bots on their system. But as long as you don't send a ton of viewers or watchers to your listing, you'll be absolutely fine. I've been utilizing this quite a bit.
Okay.
And then there are eBay, Reddit, and Twitter channels as well. And again, this is just following accounts specifically for eBay, just for eBay information in case you want any of that here. And again, if you look in the pin messages, it shows you what accounts we follow. Okay, so the next section is all about just flips. So this is all information just regarding a bunch of different types of flips. So a lot of the stuff found in here is provided by outside lead providers that we actually pay a monthly fee for to provide this information for us. So we have things like comic flips. So this is provided by an outside agency that provides information about comics that you can buy and resell. A lot of these are to be bought and resold on eBay, just because that tends to be a bigger market for comics, of course. Funko, we do have a couple different providers that provide Funko flips in here. Low-key flips. Low-key flips just basically are items that typically fly under the radar of most hype resellers. Like they're not like big, well-known items that a lot of people know about. So that's why in the low-key flips you see a lot of things like the raffles that we've seen recently, like with handmade keyboards and keyboard caps. We see like a lot of art in the low-key flips, a lot of vinyls, just stuff that a lot of people are not familiar with, but that still have good demand and good profit, right? So we have one channel for low-key flips. This is from one provider. And then we have another provider called Scythe. They have their own channel here, and they provide additional information for flips in their channel as well. And Mohammed was asking about this a little bit earlier before some others had joined. He was asking kind of about the risk assessment. So again, these lead providers that we have in here, these are providers that are typically based out of the US, but a lot of the flips are relevant to Canada as well. So that's why we employ them, that's why we pay them. the information that's provided, they typically tell you if the item is available for international shipping. But the data that they provide is typically for the U.S. market. So when they show something that costs $650, that'll typically be in U.S. dollars, and the market that they provide, what they estimate that you can sell those items at, would typically be in U.S. dollars as well. We actively monitor this, and if something does look very interesting specifically for Canadians, I typically pull that out and announce that in the products and deals channel, or I stick it in its own channel under drops and reminders, like we did with the Santa Cruz skateboards and the most recent raffle that we had here, just so everybody is kind of more aware of it and bring it more attention to it.
Does it make sense if the product is not available for shipping to send it to a prep center in the U.S. and have it listed on eBay? Does that work?
It depends. So most prep centers do not provide eBay services. I only personally know of one that does in the U.S., and that would of course be your own judgment call, because of course having eBay service where they take pictures, list it, and send it to your customer for you, that involves its own costs. So you'd have to weigh the pros and cons of that yourself for each individual item. But most items that are available in here are available to be shipped to Canada.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, most prep centers, they only offer Amazon services. Majority of them do not offer anything eBay related. But yeah, so with Scythe here, Scythe is actually, they call themselves like a lead agency. They provide leads for cook groups, specifically like ours. And so quite often you'll see they provide things that they offer cash outs for. And what that is these are items that they're interested in purchasing themselves, that have very limited access. So it's either they're items that have purchasing restrictions on them, or items like our raffles. So basically only the people that win the raffle entries are able to purchase it. These are items that they want to actually buy themselves. So when they have things like where it says cash out, you can enter these raffles, you can win, if you win them, you can buy the item and then send it directly to them, and then they will pay you. That's why it says a 0 out of 10 risk, because they will buy the items directly off of you, no questions asked. You just ship it directly to them.
Oh, okay. And you also have you call it the cook group, because I'm not really familiar with the cook group. Is that what it is that you also have? I think you just listed that raffle.
Yeah, so like this group would be considered a cook group. Like a cook group is kind of like a resellers group that find products and share them with one another, and it's called cooking those items. That's basically what this group is.
Okay. And then so once you enter, or you get you just you get that raffle, where will you buy the product?
So it depends on each individual raffle or each individual item. So I know Scythe is currently working on providing additional people to cash out items like Scotty, Cameron, putters and stuff. They're looking at adding those people onto their team. So it all depends on the item and kind of how it plays out. So like with this specific one, these were cult worship caps. This is made by like an independent artist. So with these items, if you do win the raffle, what happens is the artist specifically contacts you and sends you an invoice, typically by PayPal. So then you would just pay them directly by PayPal. And then when they ask you your shipping address, you just contact Scythe and you have it sent directly to their agency in the US. And then they would send you your funds via PayPal or like wire transfer, whatever you want.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, were the results out for that raffle you just posted that an hour ago?
Sorry, what was that? Your mic keeps cutting off there, Mohammed.
Oh, sorry. Remember that raffle that you posted about an hour ago?
Yeah, like for the keyboard today.
Were the results out, or how would you know that you went or not?
With this specific one, this was a keyboard cash out, so we can look at this post here. We can see they are going to be sending out invoices probably by about Monday this week. So winners will be sent a password around Monday. So if you do win, you'll be contacted around Monday. If you don't win, you just won't be contacted.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, so like with Scythe here, like I mentioned, they're looking at adding additional cash out providers to their services as well. So I mentioned like first Scotty Cameron putters. Scotty Cameron is just a very high-end golf brand that a lot of people are interested in. So once they add that to their service, basically, if you're able to catch a Scotty Cameron drop, you would buy it directly from the retailer. Then you would just have it shipped directly to the people that want to cash you out. And depending on the item, usually it's like a 2 or 3x cash out, so there's no risk. You ship it directly to them, they pay you, and it's all said and done. They do that because they're either collectors themselves or they just want a higher portion of the market, and they are going to resell it for a higher price.
Wow, 2 or 3x.
Yeah, 100%.
Is there a limit on the quantity?
It depends on the items. So like with Scotty Cameron, usually when Scotty Cameron putters or golf equipment gets released, it sells out almost immediately. And depending on the items, like with some of these raffles that we've seen, you can only enter one like once, or you can only enter in for like 1 or 2 items. So a lot of these items are either really restricted or they're items that sell out very quickly.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
You're typically not going to get cashed out for an item that is widely available, just because obviously it has a much higher supply, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then yeah, we have additional channels for additional flips. So miscellaneous flips, Scythe posts in here, and then there's also other people that post in here as well, just for miscellaneous items. Trading cards. This is specifically for trading card flips. Ticket flips, whenever we see anything in regards to tickets that can potentially be flipped, that gets posted in here. And then for vinyls, like actual physical music vinyls, all those guys get posted in the vinyl flips. And then the channels down here, again, this is just additional information, feeds for some popular items like Funko, Lego, and Pokemon. These are just following specific Reddit and Twitter channels. And again, if you look in the pin pages, you can see which ones we follow for information. So a lot of this is just a good way to gauge if items are going to be popular, if new things are dropping, etc. And if you want anything specifically followed for these channels, you can just let me know and I will add them in here accordingly. One interesting one that we have is the retiring Lego sets. This is a group that tracks Lego sets quite heavily, and it posts in here whenever it detects whenever sets are retiring. Retired Lego sets can be a very big arbitrage, specifically on Amazon, because once they do get retired and once the retailers start going out of stock, the price can raise quite drastically on Amazon. That's why we like tracking retired Lego sets. They are usually a longer term hold, like most Lego sets. If Amazon is in stock right now and they are retiring soon, you might have to wait like a year or so before you can cash them out. It just depends on supply and demand. And then yeah, we have another section here for in-store. So this is specifically for in-store flips. So if you find any good deals yourself in-store, you could share them. We do as well. I post information in here for items that are only available in store. You can also post information about specific thrift store finds, etc. Always interested in seeing whatever people are able to purchase and resell. And again, the more information that everybody has together, the more money we're able to make as a group. And then the next section that we have, admittedly, I do not focus on this section right now, and I am looking at options to make this section more active. But this is to talk about all about investments, stocks, and crypto. Right now, it's basically just an outside provider that's providing all the information in here. So about different crypto calls, stock information, sports betting, etc. But in the very near future, I do want to introduce more people to this. I want to gain more knowledge myself and provide more value for this section. But there's a lot of information about sports betting, investments, things of that nature. And then the last main category that we have is the sneakers category. Again, this is not a category that I'm super familiar in. I've never been that into sneakers. So I do know that the sneaker market is a little bit colder than what it has been in the past. It used to be a lot hotter. There used to be a lot more profit in sneakers. I know it's cooled down a bit over the last little bit. We do have some outside providers that are providing information about sneakers in these channels, specifically like releases, special sneaker raffles, things of that nature. This is something that I do want to expand in the future to provide more information and to have more members actively involved in the sneaker section. So this is all about sneaker flips right here. And then we get into our bots. So the sneaker monitors, these are all specifically for websites that are sneaker focused and clothing focused. And these monitors just basically track when these stores stock new products. And then we can also monitor individual products for when the items come back in stock. So a lot of these things that you see, these are new products that are just getting listed or they're on sale. But if you have any specific items that, like I say, out of stock right now, we can actively monitor them and have the channel pinged for whenever they come in stock.
So, sorry, I have a question.
Yep.
Why would you monitor for when stores restock on a specific product?
So,
How would you flip
sorry, I missed that last part. Can you repeat that last part, Mohammed?
that? Like, how would you flip? Like, how would you monitor restocking? Because that means they're more available. They're becoming more available. So I was wondering, how would you flip that?
So it all depends on the item. So like we have a whole section of restock monitors, and most of the items that we're tracking for restock are items that tend to go out of stock relatively quickly, or they're coming back in and out of stock. So the restock monitors allow us to get notified of items that have either been out of stock for a period of time, and just basically are able to tell us directly when we're able to buy those items again, right? So a lot of these are hype. A lot of these are like a lot of hype items. So like if we look in like any channel, like the Amazon restock channel, we'll see like Barbie dolls and like amiibos that were just recently released. These items are going in and out of stock, or like the special edition Spider-Man PS5. Other items that we see here. Let me find another example. What would be a good example? Another example would be like the Razer restock that I mentioned earlier today. Razer was supposed to be restocking their Viper Mini mouse this morning, but they've been having technical issues on their website. So whenever they do restock it, we'll be notified in this channel directly, right? So then we don't have to sit there and actively refresh and monitor that specific website. But we can also do things like shoppers. So like if you actively buy an item at shoppers to sell on Amazon, but that specific item is out of stock, you can just set a restock monitor and just get notified in the channel when that item restocks, so you don't need to constantly recheck it every day.
Oh, makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, for restock, so we have the section for sneaker monitors. So these are specifically for sneakers, sneaker websites. And then we have a section for retail monitors. So these are a bunch of different retail sites that we have access to. So basically, if the website is listed in here, we can actively monitor for restock for those products. We also have Shopify. So we can monitor basically any website that's a Shopify website, which is a lot of different websites. If you look in the guides section, all the way up under support, under guides, there is a guide in here that shows you how to check if a website is a Shopify website. And then we also have a restock monitor for Squarespace websites, which you can check again the same way. And yeah, like our restock monitors, they are really good monitors. They actually tell you within seconds of an item being restocked.
I have a question, kind of backtracking a little bit.
Yep.
The listing errors. Have you personally done one for the cereal?
I have, yes. I actually
And it worked?
Yes, I bought quite a few.
What define quite a few?
I've done it a couple different times. I don't want to abuse it, so like I mentioned in the
Yeah, that's what I was reading, yeah.
Yeah, so if you do attempt to abuse things like this, obviously Amazon is more prone to shut it down. So I've done it twice. The first one, I bought 3 boxes of cereals. The second time, I bought 6 boxes. I don't think I would ever do any more than that, though, and I wouldn't do it overly consistently. Like, I wouldn't do this specifically to buy the items, like, to expect to kind of cash out on them. I'd only buy, like, a couple here and there, like, maybe once or twice a month.
I see. And do you think there's a risk of your seller account being banned?
If you abuse it, there could be, not your seller account, but your Amazon purchasing account, which if it is directly, like if it's the same email that you use from one account to another, then you could have issues. Like I said, you shouldn't have any issues just doing it here and there, but if you attempt to abuse it, then yes, that is a possibility.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely. Um, and then the last section that we have is scraper monitors. So scrapers, what they do is they actively monitor the websites for specific keywords, or if it's a Shopify website, they can monitor the entire website for like restocks, out of stocks, things of that nature, and then it posts information here when it finds those corresponding items. So like if we look at any channel, like say we look at Amazon, we can look in the pin message channel, and it shows you what keywords we currently have monitored. And so basically, whenever it detects new listings with those keywords, it'll display those products in here. So like for Amazon, we have Amazon exclusive, Blaster Box, discount, Lego bundle, limited edition, Pokemon pre-order. Whenever it finds items with those keywords, it posts them in this channel. So like this is a new listing for a limited edition item. This is a new listing for a Pokemon item. So we can use this to either find new items, usually like exclusive items that we want to flip on another marketplace, or if we want to find items that are like on clearance or on sale. And then yeah, we have some like specialty monitors as well, like for Instagram. This one monitors specific Instagram channels. So again, the Instagram accounts that we have followed are in here, and basically whenever these accounts post new posts to their Instagram channel, it also gets posted in here just so we can see that information. And these are typically channels that are from places for things that are like limited edition, low-key flips, things of that nature. So yeah, that covers, I mean, most of the basics of it. I know like there's a whole lot that's going on, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, certainly feel free to ask.
I have a question on the Amazon Canada to US. You have, I think, either a channel or sub-channel. I just wanted to know how that works. So is the expectation to buy in Canada and sell on Amazon US?
Yes. So yeah, like you will see from time to time that leads are posted for Canada to US flips. So let's find one here. Like this one here. This is an item that it was available in Canada. At the time it was posted, it was available on canada.ca, and it was a viable item to sell in the US. So that's exactly what it is. These are items that are to be purchased in Canada and then sent to Amazon US. And most people go about that one of a couple different ways. If you are close to the border, you can bring the products over the border yourself. Take them over the border, slap on your Amazon US UPS labels on those items, drop them off at UPS in the US, and then send them into a US fulfillment center. Or what most people do is they send the items to a prep center that can do that for you.
Yes, I found a prep center that does that, and they charge by weight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and there's a lot of prep centers that do send items to the US. Most of them are relatively affordable. Like most of them, it only ends up costing like a couple bucks per unit to do so.
Right. And of course, there's the currency difference, which plays like in our favor, right?
100%.
We sell it cheaper. Okay.
Definitely.
I
But yeah,
I also have a question on the leads because I'm subscribed to the Canadian Gold, I guess.
Yep.
So I'm finding, again, I'm new to Amazon FBA, but I'm finding most of the Canadian products very erratic. I mean, like they go from a BSR point of view, they go up and down, and there are not a lot of sales. Is that the nature of the Canadian market, or the leads themselves?
No, so like that is more so prone to the Canadian marketplace. So like if you're watching YouTubers and finding information about how to sell on Amazon, a lot of the YouTubers that you find are going to be US sellers, and they're looking at US listings, of course. And a lot of them are going to talk about they only sell on listings that sell multiple hundreds or thousands per month. And in Canada, we certainly do have some of those listings, but there's not a lot of them that are available that actually make sense for us. Just because of the nature of our marketplace being a lot smaller and the kind of competition and listings that we have. So we can from time to time find listings that will sell multiple hundreds of units per month in Canada, but the majority of listings that you're going to be finding in the Canadian marketplace, you're going to be like selling yourself between the low to mid double digit numbers. So typically the strategy for Canada, in my opinion, is to go wider on listings, find more listings, find a much wider variety of products instead of going so deep like you would typically do in the US market.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then would it make sense if I switch to the you don't have a U.S. List list, but you have a Canada to U.S. leads list. I just don't know if that makes more sense to switch to that list.
It all depends on everybody's individual preference. So again, those are items that are vetted to be sourced in Canada and be sent over the border to be sold in the US. So in general, a lot of those listings would have higher volume. Again, most of the listings that we look at for any list is we try to look at items that are only going to sell at a minimum 10 units per month. But in the US, we do tend to find more listings that are selling, multiple hundreds up to the thousands per month. But some of them are still kind of lower volume, like what you see here. Like this one, it looks like it only sells about 7 per month, but the profit is very high.
Got it. Okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's really dependent on your own individual preference. I wouldn't specifically go for that list until you understand the process of sending units into the US and you have things set up with a prep center that is able to do that for you and that you understand that entire process. If you are absolutely brand new into selling on Amazon, I would recommend getting more familiar with Amazon in general, send in, at least like half a dozen to a dozen shipments in Canada, get used to the platform selling on Amazon in total, and then look at branching out when you're a little bit more experienced.
Yep, thank you. Makes sense.
Definitely. Hey Vinny, I see that you joined our voice call here.
Hey Jordan,
How's it
I
going?
did join.
How's it going?
Going good.
Good.
I went to Costco. I did find that a board game.
You went to Costco to find Catan?
Yes, to Costco near GTA.
You weren't able to find any?
No,
Ah,
nothing.
shitty. Yeah, that's a really good deal because like everywhere else, they're selling for like $300. So if you are able to find them in Costco, it's a really good deal right now.
Yeah, there is another version of it, blue color. I think that's more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what is this product at Costco?
I'll find it here on the screen. I believe I posted it in the products and deals announcements. I believe. Let me just double check here. Post a lot of stuff in here, so I always recommend watching and scrolling through and looking at this stuff here. Yeah, it was right here. It was posted yesterday. We have Catan 3D. It's been spotted in Costco's in Canada. So right now it's being sold in store at Costco for $89.99. Pretty much everywhere else in Canada, this is selling for like $300 plus. It is also a potential flip where you can sell it on Amazon US or on eBay, of course.
Yeah, this is good deal.
Mhm.
Jordan, can you just click Amazon?
If I click the Amazon link, you won't be able to see
Okay,
the
okay.
Amazon thing because it's my screen is specifically connected to the Discord right now.
Okay, let me share here the other version of it.
So sorry, quick question on that. When you're at Costco, is there a way that if you ask them, they tell you which store it is available on?
You could ask Costco specifically, like you'd either have to call them or go in store. Usually, if you have the product number, like the one that's on the sign there, most of the time they are able to tell you if any Costco's have it in stock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you're looking for items that you can't find in store, usually it's a good idea to give them a call and see if they can see if any of your local Costco's have them in stock.
Yes, because I did go to Costco for one of the items that came on the lead, and I couldn't find it there.
Yeah, so you just want to give them that product number on the price tag up top there. Like so for Catan, it's 1518962. You give them that, then they should be able to tell you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I know I went through a lot. I know that the server, we have a lot going on in here, and I'm always looking at adding new things. So I know there's a whole lot in here. It can be quite overwhelming. So if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, certainly feel free to ask. I'll stick around for a little bit yet. So
I think this was very useful. I mean, from the time I talked to you yesterday and then after this call, definitely have a different perspective on how I look at the server and all the opportunities.
yeah, like I know a lot of people can look at the stuff in here and they have absolutely no idea what's going on, or it looks overwhelming, or they're not sure what to do. But the server is just basically around just trying to provide as much value and as much profit to everybody as possible.
One last question: where do I check if my subscription is about to expire, or like how to renew it?
So that would be for this server specifically. It would be on your WAP dashboard. So you go to wap.com, where you subscribe to the server, and then you log in, and then you should see access to your subscriptions. So you'll see access to our server here, and then you can manage your subscription in there, see when it renews, cancel it if you want to cancel it, all those types of things.
But does it automatically renew, or do I have to go and renew it myself?
Yeah, if you set it up for a monthly subscription, it'll renew by itself automatically every month, and it should send you a reminder a couple days beforehand, letting you know when it's up for renewal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, that makes sense. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So anything else anybody wants to discuss or anybody wants to know at all, let me know.
I have a question kind of unrelated to this.
Yeah. What's up?
Just going back again, I know I've probably bothered you enough with this, but the product inauthenticity claims, you really think I got lucky?
Yes, 100%. So, like I said, retail receipts and invoices all work to prove authenticity when it comes to those types of things. It can always be a pain in the ass to deal with customer support just because that's how Amazon works. But considering that you materially changed the item, like you removed cards from a pack and then sold those cards individually, I believe you got very lucky. That's why I told you, like, I wouldn't recommend that you do that. I don't recommend that you sell individual cards, especially on a new account. It would be a little bit different if you were really established, you have good metrics, because a couple inauthentic claims is not going to kill your account. Whereas if you are a newer seller with shittier metrics, even with just a couple claims, all of a sudden your account can be at risk of getting deactivated, right?
Right. So what would your advice be then? Just to sell products that won't have, like, they have a lower risk of being like claims of inauthenticity.
So I would say don't materially change any items. So like don't remove items from packs or split them up. But yeah, and then just sell regular retail products. So if you go to Walmart, you buy something, sell it as is, or add it into a multi-pack. That's completely fine, or into a bundle. Don't split it up. If you're buying things from, like, say, Dollarama, make sure it has an actual barcode that they're scanning and not a Dollarama barcode. Otherwise, the actual item on the receipt will just show up as like a book. It won't tell you what book it is, and then it's harder for you to prove authenticity in those cases.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like any regular retail item, as long as you have proof of purchase from a major retailer, you should be fine.
I thought we were supposed to cover the original barcode, cover it with the Amazon code.
Yeah, 100% you are. So what Desi's asking, so Desi experienced he got a claim from a customer indicating that his product, which I believe, if I recall correctly, were Pokemon cards. He bought packs of Pokemon cards, opened them, and then sold cards individually. And his customer told Amazon, a couple times to a couple different customers that the products that they received were inauthentic, right? And so from what I understand, he was able to appeal those claims successfully, but I told him that I believe he got lucky being able to do so because the item that he would have had a receipt for would say like a Pokemon booster pack, whereas with the item that he sold was like an individual Pokemon card. So they're materially different items. So I would say in most cases you probably would not be able to remove that inauthenticity claim. But I believe you got very lucky in doing so.
Twice.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
So is that to me doesn't seem like luck? I don't know.
seller support to begin with is a pain in the ass to deal with.
Oh, I know. Nightmare.
But yeah, like, I mean, it could be that things have changed. I've never sold individual Pokemon cards on Amazon for that reason, but I personally believe that you got lucky.
So what would your advice be for new FBA sellers? Because my intention of selling on Amazon was primarily Pokemon related, and I was doing really well. Like I had, I think, like I was doing like 5K sales, and then these claims really like spooked me out. So now I just feel like I really have nothing to sell. Like, what would be your advice for a beginner?
One, sell sealed products if you want to specifically focus on Pokemon.
Right, that's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
So those, again, you'll have the actual physical receipts for. It'll match it up. So those you should be absolutely fine with. But two, I wouldn't personally advise you limit yourself to Pokemon unless like you're just kind of like,
No, exactly. I really want to expand.
yeah, like if you're a hobbyist, cool, and you want to just focus on Pokemon, but I wouldn't recommend that you limit yourself. So then, yeah, I would start learning, hang out in our public server here, ask questions, watch videos, and start sourcing additional products. I mean, like there's no magic method to it. You kind of just have to start sourcing and utilizing things like Keepa and just scan things in the store, look for things online, and start finding stuff.
So when you say scan things, is that through this the seller app or seller amp?
So you can do it through the seller app itself. I don't like that method because you can't see a Keepa graph directly in the Seller Central app. If you do have Seller Amp, their app is actually very nice for scanning stores at Retail Arbitrage because you can see Keepa right there and you click into it. So that's what I'd recommend doing. Like say you go to like a Walmart or Canadian Tire. That's a great way to start. Just sit there and just scan everything and see if you can find stuff that makes profit and that looks like it's viable on Keepa.
Okay. Have you ever personally had issues with retail arbitrage where like employees like get on your case, like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, 100%.
And what do you like? How do you deal with them?
So, and most of the time, it's not a problem. Like most time, people will leave you alone. Sometimes people are interested in them. They're like, "What are you doing?"
I hate it so much when people do that. It's so annoying.
I've never been one to want to make excuses or lie to anybody, so I'm always just upfront and tell them exactly what I'm doing. But there are some employees that we found at certain stores that have a stick up their ass that they think that the store is theirs and that we're taking money from them, and they get pissed off about it. If that happens, basically we either just avoid that store or just try to come in when that employee is not there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, like I don't really do like a whole lot of RA myself now. I did it a lot more when we first started, and like I still do some, more so for products that you just can't buy online. They're only available in store. But yeah, it's kind of something that you just have to get used to and kind of just get over. And probably like 95% of cases, nobody really cares what you're doing. It's just very seldom you may come across somebody that just, for some reason, has a stick up their ass about what you're doing.
Question, Jordan. You familiar with the Flip app? Basically, just an app that lists majority of the Canadian buyers.
Yep, definitely.
Is that something you guys like reading from? Like your bots are reading from?
So none of these bots are. I am certainly familiar with Flip. I do believe that that can be a good resource to use if you are wanting to manually source some of those sales. But no, none of our bots are sourcing from there, and I don't personally source from there at all.
But usually, if you're reading those flyers, it's just as good as being at the store, right?
Sorry, your mic's kind of cutting off. What did you say there, Mohammed?
If you're looking at the flyers on that app, it's as good as doing the retail arbitrage, being at the store.
Yeah, pretty much, because yeah, like a lot of those they do have wide availability, and yeah, that's kind of doing a in a sense kind of like retail arbitrage, but doing it at home from your computer. So yeah, like I think it's just as effective. Me personally, I don't typically like going into a store and spending all day there scanning stuff myself all day all the time. Some people do, so I would personally prefer like looking at flyers and then manually sourcing at home.
I have one last question. If
Yeah.
I want to make suggestions for the OA leads, like maybe add a column, how do I do that? 'Cause, for example, one of the items I look at is the number of sales,
hmm
and it just saves me time if that was listed on the Google sheet rather than me having to go into each item on that list.
Yeah, so if you want to make any suggestions, you can always just direct message me, and then I will certainly take them into consideration. The only thing with the estimated sales that can be a little bit tricky for Canada. So like we do use Seller Amp ourselves, which I imagine probably most people do just because it's more popular than a lot of other softwares nowadays. The only issue with the estimated sales is I've never found estimated sales on any software to be accurate in Canada. All these softwares that estimate sales, they are built for the US market and they're not really adjusted properly for Canada. And you can't just go based off of the estimated sales to see what's actually going on. So I will actually show you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to find an item and then I'll start sharing and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Just give me a second here. Let me find a product that's a good example. Just give me a few seconds. Bum, 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 bum. So yeah, like a lot of these softwares, they're like I mentioned, they're designed for the U.S. marketplace. They're kind of tracking sales rank based on the U.S. marketplace, and you can't just look at like specific Keepa drops and say for certain like one Keepa drop equals one sale. It doesn't work like that. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. I don't want to get too deep into it because if you are new, it can start to confuse you. But I'm going to pull up a listing to see if I can show you an example. I just have to find a good example here. 1 second. Hey Manish, how's it going? Manish, are you there?
Hey, good man. How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
How was Amazon United?
Good. Got to meet with a lot of people. Got to meet with people that we've been talking to for a long time in person. So that was cool. It was a great event. Got a lot out of it. So it's great. Good.
Beauty. Did you meet Dan?
Did I meet Dan?
Dan Rack?
Yes.
Beauty.
Yes. Do you know him?
Yeah, he's one of the moderators in the public group there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here. Just give me a second.
Yeah, I met him and I met Taha, his partner.
Okay, I've never talked to or met him. So let me know if you can see this this product listing.
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool. So with this item right here, this is an item that actually looks relatively solid in Canada. It has a solid sales rank. It looks like, according to Seller Amp, it sells 49 per month. Okay. So if you look at that and you look at the amount of sellers that are on here, it looks like we have like 3 competitive sellers. So it's like, okay, we sell 50 per month. I would be seller number 4. Maybe I can sell maybe 15, 20 per month myself, right? If we look into it a little bit deeper, we might find a different story. What I personally like to do is I like to look into the data tab on Keepa, look at the offers tab here, filter by prime, and then make sure you click include historical offers. And then this actually shows you what Amazon seller stock is over a period of time, and it gives you an indication of how many units people are selling. Again, it's not perfect, because if items are being transferred between warehouses, sometimes that look like sales are going on. If a seller has inventory limits on their inventory, Keepa can't track their inventory. But this kind of gives you a better idea of what's going on. And if we look at this, just right away, it looks like, according to Keepa, 120 are being sold per month. And that's vastly different compared to the estimated sales that we have over here, right? So I kind of look at the big picture. I kind of look at multiple sellers just to kind of see how many units they're selling in what period of time. And then I use that to make my guesstimations on how many I believe are actually selling and how many I should purchase. So you can kind of look at a seller and you can say, hey, look, like this seller here, they stocked 25 on August 15th, and then they were down to 4 of them by August 23rd. And it looks like it's a relatively steady decline. It doesn't look like it just dips out of nowhere. So I would say, yeah, they probably sold 20 units within about 10 days. So I would say that this item probably sells more than 49. It probably sells closer to 100 plus.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, like, and again, like, it's very common that you see on Seller Amp, like, it looks like an item sells, it'll say that this item sells 6 times per month. But if you actually dig a little bit deeper into it, it actually looks like the item sells, like, say 15 to 20 times per month. Out of all the sales estimators that exist, I find that Seller Amp is more accurate than most of them, just because they are directly connected to Keepa. They're getting their data directly from Keepa. But again, Keepa doesn't always tell you the full story, because Keepa is not connected into Amazon's API. Keepa is simply charting the sales rank over a period of time and giving you an estimation of what's happening, right? Amazon doesn't tell Keepa how many units are actually being sold. Keepa just looks at a product once every 15 minutes or so, looks at the sales rank, charts it. Looks at it again 15 minutes or so, looks at the sales rank, charts it. And then they make some assumptions based on that information, right?
So whether 10 units is sold by one customer or 1 unit, that counts as 1 drop?
Kind of.
Or is it a 10 drop?
So, when we look at, like, what I mentioned is, as far as we know, nobody knows for sure, but as far as we know, Keepa tracks products once every about 15 minutes, okay? I do know that there are some cases where Keepa just doesn't look at products for some reason, and it kind of gets passed on in the back end, because it's a piece of software, it's not perfect. So, if in between that 15-minute period, multiple units sell, or one seller sells multiple units, we won't be able to see that information, because a lot can happen in a 15-minute period, right? But if, like, say, if you have units and say, like, an item is a sales rank of 10,000 and one person buys 20 units from you, chances are, like, Keepa would only see that as one sale occurring, and or like one sales rank drop, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. No, that definitely makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and, like, so again, it's not perfect information. We're just trying to take all the information that we have, look at it, look at the total big picture, and then make as good of an educated guess as possible with the information that we have. So, like, again, this data can get skewed a little bit even more when you look at variation listings, because that's a whole different story. If you see sellers on a listing that are from the US, that can skew the data too, like the actual stock data. So there's more that goes into it than that, but that just kind of gives you a surface level kind of breakdown.
And Keepa and Seller Apps are the best. I have those 2 softwares. I don't know if I need another one on top of that for analysis.
So the only tool you absolutely need is Keepa. So if you want to make any educated decisions in this business, you need Keepa. That's the only tool that is required in this business. Everything else is just nice to have. So Seller Amp at its core is just like an on-screen calculator, and it allows you to export data to Google Sheets, and then it has obviously additional functionality where you can like storefront stock people quite nicely. It's not required, but it's nice to have. To have this on-screen calculator is a very big time save versus having to pull up each individual listing on Seller Central directly and look at Amazon's revenue calculator. For like the 20 some bucks a month it costs, it's well worth it in my opinion. But no, you don't need anything else. Everything else is just nice to have. There's hundreds of different softwares you can get and pay for. Some will make your life easier, some are just a waste of money.
You're absolutely right. So I found the Seller app, the like especially the dimension, and adding the weight cost into the calculation. All that helps in saving time when I'm
100%.
doing the.
100%. And yeah, like it's a relatively affordable software. You can find softwares that cost hundreds of bucks per month and will not provide you as much value.
Awesome. No, this has been very helpful, Jordan. Really appreciate this session.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Yeah, like we're kind of coming to the end of it, but if anybody else has any last minute questions, comments, anything, certainly let me know.
I have kind of a personal question. How old are you, Jordan?
I just turned 30 last week.
Oh, nice.
You're
And
se-
how long have you been doing this for?
I started selling on Amazon November 2018, so just about 5 years.
Do you like? Are you comfortable sharing like how much sales you do like monthly?
So I have never been a person that really goes into my sales, flexes it, etc. But put it this way, we spend multiple six figures per month on inventory.
Oh. So when you say we, like who are you referring to exactly? Like you have like employees or like is it a like company?
So obviously I'm incorporated. I'm the sole owner.
Right.
I'm the sole owner of my company. But yes, I do have a team. I do have staff. So I do have employees that work for me locally, and then I do have a decent sized VA team from the Philippines as well.
Wow.
Yes, sir. How long have you been selling on Amazon for?
I started in like I think April.
Okay, cool. And you said
April.
you were said that just with Pokemon cards you were selling like 5K a
Yeah.
month?
It got up to that. Like it was going pretty well. And then like so basically because before Amazon, when you're in the Pokemon card business, one of the ways of making money is you buy or you can trade for like the shitty commons and uncommon cards. So I was paying like a few penny or like a penny for like per card. I get like 10,000, 20,000, and then from there I was making them into these bulk lots
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
selling them on Amazon. And obviously, when I was doing that, like I had no way to prove they were coming from there, so I had to use those like store receipts from stuff, and then I told them that this stuff came from those products. But that was like my most popular item, selling those lots, and so now I really wanted to build my account health to get to the like that assurance threshold so that your account wouldn't get suspended.
For
So
sure.
I've just kind of been taking it. I haven't really like done much with Amazon, but I'm hoping to find something in terms of products. When it comes to sourcing, I really just it just feels like there's so much stuff that you could sell. It's kind of like overwhelming, you know.
Definitely.
Um,
But so like yeah, with Amazon, they are obviously one of the most restrictive platforms that there is.
oh yeah, I had no idea that like it's basically like do or die in the sense that if you get your account suspended, then like that's pretty much it for you. Like I had no idea that was. If I had known, I would have been way more diligent. I just thought it was like hop on. Once you get ungated, you're good to go kind of thing.
Yeah, so like eBay is kind of like still like the Wild West, where you can basically sell whatever you want, more or less.
Right. It's just
Amazon.
nowhere near as like
So
can't do the same.
yeah, like there's definitely more restriction when it comes to things like that, used items, open items, stuff like that. But with that though, you do have the it's a lot more easy once you figure out the system to sell things on Amazon. Like if you have to make like say like 1,000 listings on eBay, that'll take you days, right? Whereas you can
Oh, yeah.
you can literally prep thousands of units per day and send them off to Amazon, and they do the rest. And on Amazon, typically most items are sold at a much higher premium. There are a lot of fees that are associated with it, higher than eBay, but a lot of items are sold at a lot much higher price on Amazon versus eBay. Like you can probably sell an Xbox 360 right now on eBay for like $40. If you look at Xbox 360 used listings on Amazon, you can probably get like $100 plus, right? But yeah, like it's not like super scary where it's like you have to walk in eggshells on Amazon, but you do need.
That's how I've been feeling though lately. That's kind of deterred me from wanting to.
So
What I did, I actually opened another account. I have an LLC in US, so I opened another one. I'm going to open a third one just to, if any lessons learned, I want to reflect on all my accounts. But I'm just getting to, because I also I hear this from many other people, the concern if you building on this being an additional source of income or main source of income, Amazon can shut you down in one day, and then what do you do next? Just to,
so
just to.
it is their playground. You are playing by their rules, and yes, the general consensus with people is that I can get banned at any time for any reason. Technically, it could happen, but I think that probably 99% of the people that end up getting suspended or banned, they'll tell you that they did nothing wrong, but I would bet that a big portion of them are full of shit and they're not telling you the full story. They actually did something to get suspended or banned, but they just don't tell you that they actually did, right? I've talked to a lot of sellers that are like 7, 8 figure sellers, a lot of people that deal with thousands of people, help them with their accounts every single year. And I agree that you should have some form of security. You should have a backup plan. I personally have 2 seller accounts myself that are completely disconnected under different companies. I use a different internet connection, different phone, absolutely everything, because I have staff that I need to pay. And I did it specifically. I made the additional account to get around the inventory restrictions when COVID popped off. That's the main reason why I did it, but it is nice to have that security. But I don't believe it's necessary if you're not doing shady shit and you are following Amazon's guidelines. It's very rare. You almost never hear of it that somebody gets suspended for no reason. If you actually talk to them and dig into it, you find out, oh yeah, I was drop shipping, or oh yeah, I was selling items from a liquidator that I can't prove authenticity for, and they're probably stolen or they're fake. It's very not common that somebody gets suspended or banned out of nowhere.
So, kind of touching on that, because when I've talked to like support like over the phone, a lot of them, they all have like, I find I get different information from them, but it seemed like the consensus amongst them was that retail arbitrage is kind of frowned upon in terms of selling on Amazon. Is that technically true, or is it something that is like, obviously people like yourself and everyone in this group is engaging in it, but are they trying to avoid that on their platform?
So what kind of responses did you get from support in regards to retail arbitrage? Like what did they specifically tell you?
Like that they don't condone it, or you shouldn't be doing it, kind of.
So if you
Like, because they're saying like you need stuff from actual distributors, like that's a lot. That's basically what I was hearing.
So yeah, like you'll find with support, a lot of them are not super educated on Amazon's policies or terms, and yes, a lot of people give you different answers for the exact same thing. With support, I always say I basically treat them like children. I try to make things as clear and concise as possible. But if you look through their terms of service, like there is nothing that specifically states you can't resell products from retail stores. I've looked through their policies and terms quite heavily for a lot of things. A lot of people don't, but there's nothing that indicates that. So like they have policies that prohibit price gouging, but those specifically apply to certain items, mostly like necessities, especially at times of shortages. So like if there is like say a baby formula shortage, right, and you see that baby formula that normally sells for $40 is selling for $90 on Amazon, and you can't find it anywhere, but occasionally a store will stock it. Don't be that guy. I say don't be a prick. Don't buy it. Don't price gouge people when there's shortages for items that are necessities. Okay.
Right.
Everything else, if it's not a necessity, if it's not hard to find, if it's like a PlayStation 5 that nobody needs, it's not a necessity. It's just hard to find because the company is restricting it for that reason. It's fair game. It's an open marketplace. It doesn't matter. Amazon's not going to ban you for engaging in free market.
Right.
But yeah, like they do certainly have restrictions, and they are pretty heavily regulated, and they do make it harder year after year. But you just want to make sure that you're always on the up and up. Don't sell things from places where you can't prove authenticity. If you sell used items, you can sell used items on Amazon, like say like used PlayStations and stuff.
So how would you prove authenticity for that? That's actually a good point.
You can't. So you have to accept the fact that if somebody complains, you probably just have to take the L.
Fuck. It's so annoying. Like it seems like you're at the mercy of like customers. Like even when, you dot your I's and cross your T's. Like, so it just seems. I think like from this point on, like I will only deal with stuff I can prove. Like it just doesn't seem worth it, especially like you said, being so early into the game, like 1 or 2 claims, and then it's like
Yeah, so like you certainly have way more flexibility the longer you've been selling, the better metrics you have. So like a brand new seller, if you just start selling, you make a mistake, you send in a fake product by accident, you get an inauthentic claim, you could get suspended almost immediately if you're a brand new seller. Whereas if somebody that's been established, like if I get an IP complaint or an inauthenticity complaint, I don't really care because I know it's not going to impact my account. If they stack up like a couple dozen at a time, we're going to see impacts. But if I only see 1 or 2, it's not going to impact me at all.
Does your account? Oh, sorry.
No,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Does your account health reset?
It's certain things fall off of your account. Your account health doesn't reset, but like claims fall off your account. I believe it's after, I think it's 90 or 180 days, depending on what it is.
Right. But I'm just specifically referring to like the number, like because right now I'm at 212. Like, and I haven't been selling. Like, I'm just wondering, like, do you know if in 6 months I'll go back to like the base 200, or will it maintain that number indefinitely?
From as far as I'm aware, your account health is directly related to obviously like the claims and stuff that you have, but that number is directly related to how many sales you're actually making.
So if you're not making sales, it will, like, you think it'll go down?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
See, that's why I gotta get on the horse.
But yeah, like you said, it can be overwhelming. Like there's so much stuff you can look at. 100%. You just have to put blinders on and just start.
Yeah, because I recently went from shoes to cards. I've been wanting to get more into shoes, and I was looking through that. I know you mentioned that it was outsourced, like your channel, the sneaker channel, and a lot of those, like, they always have better sales in the States, but they are all like American based.
For sure.
So for shoes, it seems like I prefer dealing. I rather, maybe when I get more experience, I can dabble with ordering from like internationally. At this point, I probably just want to stick with finding product like just the random products like the Dollarama products I'm interested in, the Walmart clearance products. Like, do you think it's like a good method to just go in the store and just start scanning like a madman, or like even just or using your lead lists? Like, what do you think is like the most efficient way to find products when you're just starting off?
So I'll touch on a couple things there. So you mentioned about shoes. So shoes, if you're looking on Amazon, I don't believe is a super good play for Canada. Shoes,
Really?
yes, shoes can certainly sell in Canada, but it's nowhere near like what it is in the U.S. Shoes,
Oh, okay.
shoes can be very profitable. I know a lot of people that make good money selling shoes, but in
In
general,
Canada as well, or
in Canada too, yes, but not nearly as much as in the U.S. But you have to factor in that shoes, one, their buy cost tends to be quite high, so you do need relatively high capital if you want to make it work well. And shoes, if you're looking at Amazon, they do tend to have a pretty high return rate, so you have to be able to deal with that.
okay.
Shoes can be viable in Canada. I don't believe they're viable for somebody that's new or somebody that has limited capital. Shoes are much more viable if you're going eBay, StockX, things of that nature, or if you're specifically looking for the U.S.
Yeah,
market.
that's what I've been dealing. That's what I typically deal with.
Yeah.
Um,
So I wouldn't say if you're relatively new to Amazon, look at shoes. I would say that should be something that you look at when you have more experience if you're looking to sell them on Amazon Canada. And then also you have to look at the whole factor about getting ungated with Nike, Under Armour, Asics, things of that nature, right?
mhm.
To find leads, I don't believe if you are brand new and if you don't know how to navigate Amazon super well, I don't know how much a leads list will benefit you. Obviously, like it can give you a start. It can show you what kind of products to look for, give you access to different retailers, so you can start rabbit holing those leads. But I do believe it's more beneficial for you to be able to learn those skills, to be able to source, find some products, get going, and then if you need help finding additional stuff or if you want to supplement your sourcing, then that's where a leads list can be most beneficial. I do believe you should gain the skills. I do believe that going into a store and just scanning like a madman, like you said, can be certainly a good start. Retail arbitrage, a lot of people frown on retail arbitrage because it is more of a grind. It can certainly take more work, but
Right.
retail arbitrage can be super viable. I believe you can make a very comfortable living just doing RA itself. But yes, you will have to put in the legwork, and it is going to be a grind versus just like say sourcing on your computer. But I believe it is still a good start.
Would you recommend RA over OA, or which one? Like, do you think our online would be easier to pursue?
I would say either or, whatever you like more, whatever you're more prone, whatever you'd be more prone to stick with, and kind of pay more attention to. Like if you can do more work being physically in a store scanning products versus if you're on your computer getting distracted, obviously RA would be better for you.
Right.
If you hate being in a store around people and you're able to stay focused on your computer, maybe OA is better for you.
Okay. And then just one last thing for me. And again, thank you for taking the time to do this. You mentioned shoes having high return rates. Just regarding returns in general, I noticed that I've already dealt with a few returns, and it seemed for some like the return amount ends up being way more than what I netted. Does that mean that every time when you encounter a return, do you lose money because you're refunding like the entire amount, like including the tax and the fee, like, and then when you sell it again, it's way less?
So, kind of. So it depends on the item. So obviously, if you have an item that has a high return rate, and that same item is constantly returned, that's probably an item you don't want to sell, for one, because that's just a waste of time and capital. But two, like say if you sell something through Amazon, and somebody returns it to Amazon, you're not going to be losing so much money unless the item is not sellable. But if you have to have it, like if Amazon just puts it back in your inventory and you're able to resell it, you're not going to really lose that much money. But like if you have to,
But you are losing.
pardon me.
Like you are losing though when you're like if because that's what's happened. Like you were the person returned it, it goes back in my inventory, and then I sell it. Even with that process, you still lose.
Not overly. Like it's going to be kind of like a net zero kind of thing. It's just more time to turn over your cash flow.
Okay.
But like say if it's returned and it goes into your stranded inventory because Amazon can't determine that it can be resold, or they think it's materially different and they put it in your stranded inventory, you have to have it removed, or unfulfillable inventory rather, then you have to pay those removal fees to have it sent back to you. You have to pay to send it back into FBA, and those processes you're going to be losing more money. It's like the fees are negligible, but if it's happening time and time again, it can certainly add up. And if it's like a low profit item, that can eat into the profits quite quickly.
Okay, I got you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like
Okay, then.
for example, like with sneakers, I mentioned like it's a high return rate. So like
Right, because they don't fit or something. Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of people will buy multiple pairs because like, oh, I want to try on all these pairs, I'll just return the ones that I don't want or whatever, right? But like say like a standard pair of sneakers, like say if you go to like Marshalls or Ross or Winners, you'll probably spend like $50, right? You're probably going to have a return rate of like between 10 and 20%. Whereas with most standard items, like say consumable items, groceries, health and beauty, stuff like of that nature, toys, your return rate's probably going to be closer to 1 to 2%. And like with sneakers, your dollar invested per sneaker, if you're going to Winners or Marshalls, are probably best case scenario, like between like 30 to 50, $60 a pair. If you're buying them brand new, you're looking at probably like 100 plus per pair. That can be a lot of capital that's tied up, sent to the customer, returned back to Amazon, potentially have to be sent back to you, re-inspected, sent back to Amazon. Some of them are worn, have rocks in them, you can't resell them as new, missing box, damaged box, things of that nature, right?
Right.
Yeah. So not saying that they can't be viable. Obviously, sneakers is a super viable business. A lot of people do it. It's a lot colder today than what it was like even a few years ago, but there's still a lot of money to be made. But I don't believe it's a super good play for somebody new to do sneakers specifically on Amazon.
Okay, that's good to know. I had no idea actually. I thought that again. You mentioned also like when you go on YouTube or you're like consuming content from different sellers, a lot of them are based in the States. So because a lot of the people I've watched, they're like, oh yeah, shoes is, go to Nike outlet, you'll find all these profitable SKUs. It's really easy. But so that was my impression this whole time. So yeah, that's.
Do you know who the YouTuber Reezy Resells is?
Reezy Resells, yeah.
So watch his videos about selling sneakers. So before, like probably like 2 years ago or so, he was making like a lot of videos about, he used to sell books a lot, and then they started getting super heavy into sneakers. He's like, this is the play, selling all these Nikes, going to Nike outlets, etc. We're spending a shit ton of money. And then he kind of like becomes very inactive, and then you see some of his later videos where he talks about selling sneakers, and he talked about how it got over his head too quickly because, like I said, he wasn't expecting such a high return rate. He wasn't expecting how capital intense it has to be to make X amount of money. You can make a much higher ROI on other items that sell a lot quicker. If you look in Canada, even more so, because our volume is way less than what it is in the US. So these are just things you all have to factor in, right? Like, again, I'm not saying that it's not viable in Canada, but it's just, I don't believe it's a great place to start. I think it's something that you should ease into.
What about, would you say that holds true for clothing?
Yes. Clothing again can be very profitable, especially if you're looking at like, say, like Nike socks, some baseball hats. If you're like getting into like specific t-shirts and stuff like that, it becomes way more difficult. But they still have a very high return rate. And you want experience on Amazon because almost every listing you look at is going to be a variation. You're going to look at a keeper graph, you're going to say, holy shit, this sells a lot. But no, the variation that you're looking at sells nothing. The other variations that you didn't pay attention to, those are the ones that are selling. But all the keeper graphs look the same. You need more experience to be able to look at that, to be able to tell which variations are actually selling.
So variations meaning like different colors or different sizes or both?
Both.
Is that what you... Both. Okay.
So a variation, like on Amazon, you'll have like your main parent listing. So you'll have one listing. Any other additional sizes or colors that are on that same listing page, all of those are additional variations. So if you're using Seller Amp and you pull up Seller Amp and you see the V flag that pops up under the alerts, that just means that that listing has variations. They're telling you that for that reason, because Kiba graphs are shared between variations. So it's this exact same sales rank for every single variation, no matter how much each of them sell. If you look at each Keepa graph, each one will probably look slightly different. So you're like, oh, this Keepa graph is different than this one, so this one must sell this amount, this amount. That's not how it works. The Keepa graphs are actually shared. You have to dig deeper into the FBA seller stock or the reviews specifically for the country that you're looking at in order to prove sales for that variation.
Okay.
So it's more overwhelming. I don't believe it's a good place for somebody to get started. I believe you can do it. It can be viable, but I don't believe you should do it until you're more experienced.
Okay. So do your low key flips, do they have like are they a lot of stuff you can flip on Amazon? Or is it just flips in any marketplace?
Most of the low key flips that you see will be more so targeted towards marketplaces like eBay. Because
Okay.
like low key flips, a lot of those again are things that are fly under the radar or are specific collectibles. So like it'll be like certain artwork or vinyls or handmade things that collectors want. Those are things that typically do not have a marketplace on Amazon. Those will be focused on eBay, and it'll show you like comps specifically for eBay. So those would be targeted for eBay. If something is specifically for Amazon that makes sense on Amazon, you'll typically see me or whoever else posts it, post screenshots of what the profit would be on Amazon and specific links to that Amazon listing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, thank you. Like I said, thank you again. Really informative. And all the best, man. Thank you so much.
For sure, definitely. I appreciate you entering the giveaway and trying the server out and coming out and spending the time.
Awesome. We'll see you. Well, sure, we'll talk in the future.
For sure. Before we close it out, Mohammed, Vinny, anything else you wanted to discuss at all?
No, thank you. I really appreciate the session again, Jordan. So much appreciated.
Definitely, for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm good, Jordan. I'm just listening in.
For sure. Okay, so then I will close it out then. Again, thanks everybody for coming out, and I do hope that you end up finding lots of value in the server, and I do hope you end up making a lot of profit.
You bet. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jordan.